Hello, baseball fans. King Ikibu coming to you live from the underground bunker, deep beneath Tuktoyaktuk, where we are playing Best of the 80s, game number 8,281. And it is a notable game for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, it's the middle of the pennant race of the American League. And looking at the standings, the Baltimore Orioles are 3.5 games back of first place Toronto. They're 1 game back of second place Milwaukee, who has won the pennant the last 2 seasons and are looking for a three-peat. And so that's one big reason. We have a massive, great, whatever you want to call it, pennant race going on with about 20 games remaining in the season. We are playing a game from the 13th of September, 1983. So if you remember your history, the Orioles were the World Series champions in 1983, and if they are going to duplicate that here in the replay, they are going to have to get busy. And it'll have to start now. They have a 4-game series against the Boston Red Sox. If you look at the opposite end of the spectrum, the Red Sox are 1 game ahead of the New York Yankees for last place in the American League East. And if you know anything about the best and worst of the 80s, last place matters because the last place teams play in a postseason of their own to see who is the worst team of the year. And so far, I don't want to go there. I don't want to stretch my memory. But let's see. The anti-World Series champion of 1980, looking at the historical files, looking at the past winners, quote-unquote winners of the anti-World Series, the Cubs were the 1980 anti-World Series champions. In the 1981 season, it was the anti-World Series was between the Blue Jays and the Cubs, and the Blue Jays were the anti-World Series champions in 81. So Cubs 80, Blue Jays 81. And then in 1982, we had 2 brand new teams fighting for the bottom. And that was between the Rangers and the Reds. And the Rangers, the Texas Rangers, were the anti-World Series champions in 1982. So Cubs, Blue Jays, and Rangers. And these teams are fighting for that honor here. Seattle looks like the favorites by far at this point with a 55-89 record. And just looking at their roster, they look pretty bad. But you never know what happens. So these 2 teams are fighting to stay out of that postseason, and the Red Sox are 1 game ahead of the Yankees at this point. So that's another part, a third part or second part about why this is a big series. Boston wants to stay out of last. Baltimore wants to get into first. And I'll say the third one a little bit later, but I like to talk about this pennant race. And it looked like Toronto should run away with it, because they are done with the American League East. They've played all the teams and they were ahead, and they also were done with the White Sox. So they had these lowly American League West teams to play for the rest of the season, but they are struggling against them. They're struggling big time, and they should be pulling away, but they are losing, and they're barely hanging on at this point. So that's another factor in this. And Baltimore and Milwaukee are really glad about that. It gives them a chance to try to catch Toronto. And the third reason why we're playing this game is because of one man, and that is Wade Boggs. Here are Wade Boggs' stats coming into this series. 19 games remaining for Boston. He's played in 134 games. He's had 598 plate appearances, 518 at-bats, 94 runs, 215 hits. He has 49 extra base hits, 78 RBIs, 77 walks, 33 strikeouts. But that's not the number we care about the most. That is this number right here. He is batting .415 with 19 games remaining. Of course, he's going to face a lot of great pitchers in the American League East and the rest of the way. So the question is, can he hang on to 400 and be the first players since 1941? Ted Williams, who's in the stands today at Fenway Park, watching. He is perturbed that he had to leave his fishing boat to go on this tour with the Red Sox to follow Wade Boggs and to see if he can become the second player since 1941 to bat 400. Of course, it'd be the second Red Sox. I think the last non-Red Sox player to bat 400 was 1930. If I remember right, Bill Terry, 1930. And of course, 1930, everybody had high batting averages. So really not saying that much. But we are following this very closely. It has created interest throughout baseball to see if Wade Boggs can indeed bat 400. He has 15 points of cushion at this point, but anything can happen. Batting averages that high can drop very quickly. So let's play this game from 1983, September the 13th. Orioles at Red Sox. Here's the starting lineup for the Baltimore Orioles. Leading off, playing center field, Al Bumbry. Batting second, the right fielder, Disco Dan Ford. Batting third, the real MVP of 1983, the shortstop, Cal Ripken Jr. Batting fourth, the first baseman, Eddie Murray. Batting fifth, the left fielder, John Lowenstein. Some say Lowenstein, some say Lowenstein. Frankenstein, you pick, whichever you prefer. Batting sixth, the DH, Ken Singleton. Batting seventh, the catcher, Joe Nolan. Batting eighth, the third baseman, Glenn Gulliver. And batting ninth, the second baseman, Rich Dower. And today's starting pitcher, Scotty McGregor. For the Boston Red Sox, leading off and playing second base, Jerry Remy. Or batting first and playing second base, Jerry Remy. Batting second, the man we've been talking about, third baseman, Wade Boggs. Hope he ate his chicken today and is prime for this game. Batting third, the left fielder, Jimmy Rice. Batting fourth, the DH, Dewey Evans. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Dave Stapleton. The man who manned first base before Billy Buckner, who will come to the Red Sox next year. Batting sixth, is it? The center fielder, Reed Nichols. Batting seventh, the right fielder, Rick Miller. Batting eighth, the shortstop, Glenn Hoffman. Batting ninth, the catcher, Gary Allenson. And batting and the pitcher in his rookie season, Oil Can Boyd, with a 5-3 record and a 2.84 ERA. Yes, this is game number 8,281. Got it backwards. 8,281. And then we're going to start it right away. We're going to just copy and paste the stats that I put into the blog. I don't put the blog in the description in the videos. I should do that because people might want to follow along. It will take you, if you want to waste a whole day, because there's a lot there to feast on in this blog, in the board. All these posts, including every week I have a weekly report, not just baseball, but what's going on in the world at that point of the replay. It's a lot to feast on, like I said. So, Oil Can Boyd will start the game. He's 5-3, 284. Not bad for the rookie. And let's get this one underway without further ado. Here is Al Bumbry batting .266 with a homer and 26 RBI. He pretty much took over center field halfway through the season and is in there for his speed and defense. He really didn't get on base that much that year. Didn't show a lot of speed, but he is fast and he has decent center field defense. So here's the pitch to him. 6-1 is a fly out to right field. The right fielder is Rick Miller. One away. Here's Disco Dan. He's got 10 homers, 52 RBIs, batting .292. He is doing better than he did in real life. Here's a pitch to Dan Ford, and it has a possible error. And he does not reach on an error, so there's 2 away for Cal Ripken. Cal Ripken is not doing as well as real life. You can see he had a 371 on base percentage. He's only 338 in the replay. And that's one of the big reasons why the Orioles are not in first place, is that Cal Ripken is not living up to the hype in the replay so far. And he's about 40 points or so below his real slugging percentage. His RBIs are pretty good. The home runs are down. Well, we can look at his real stats if you aren't familiar with them. So real life Ripken, 27-102. So his RBIs are better, but his other stats, 318, 27 homers, are not there, as he's batting only 296. And on base and slugging, all three are below. Home runs are below, but his RBIs are above. So here's the pitch to Ripken. And he reaches on a walk. And there's no point of trying to steal, because he has no chance of stealing, but he does have a chance of getting thrown out. So there's no point. We play it safe. And that brings up Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray, 31 homers, 96 RBIs, compared to real Eddie Murray. He is 33 homers, 111 RBIs. So he is well on pace to meet his record. He only needs 2 homers, and yeah, he can easily reach the RBIs. His other rankings, though, or ratings, are lower. In real life, he batted... Where's Murray again? Batted 306, 393, 350, or 538. So he's well below those numbers in real life. So that could be a factor as well, even though his power and his run production is the same, pretty much. But here he is. And he grounds out to Boggs to end the inning. So now we will take a snapshot of Scotty McGregor's numbers. 13-9, 288 ERA, which is pretty good numbers for a guy only with a 7-1 rating. 7 is one above the really bad. I consider that's the breaking point. If you're 6th grade, then you give up way more hits than 7. That's the biggest jump. So he's just slightly above average grade-wise, and yet he still has a very good ERA. He's pitching quite well. His ERA is 288, but in real life, McGregor had an ERA of 318. So he's doing better than he did in real life. But reflecting the struggles of his team, his wins are not up there. He needs 5 wins to match his real life total, and he's already passed his losses. But as we know, that's not always the fault of the pitcher. Here's Jerry Remy, batting 277 with no homers and 37 RBIs. And he wants to get on base in front of Boggs, Rice, and I don't know, there's some power hitters that are not playing today, like Tony Armas, Carl Yastrzemski are not playing today. They're going with their, I guess, more defensive lineup for some reason. But anyway, here's Jerry Remy. And he gets on with a base hit. So he has a chance, 11, 12, and 13, of stealing second, and only a 1 chance, 66, of getting thrown out. So he might as well try. Almost gets thrown out, but doesn't. He can't get the jump. So here is Wade Boggs, a man of the hour. 415 batting average, doing much better than he did in real life. His real life batting average was around 360. What was it? 361. So he did lead the league in batting average and on base, but he is doing much better in the replay than he did in real life. So let's see if he can keep that going. We're all pulling for you, Boggs. And here's the first at bat for Boggs. And he hits into a fielder's choice, runner out at second. He reaches, but doesn't help himself in his batting average. So he's on first and brings up Jimmy Rice, who had 39 homers in real life, but he has 42 already in the replay. So he's the main power source of the Red Sox. And I think he leads, pretty sure he leads the league in homers. He always did. I don't even have to look. I think just Winfield is behind him. Yes, 6 ahead of Winfield. And in the National League, nobody comes close. Dawson, 34. So he has a very sizable lead in the home run race. He's the only man over 40 so far in the season, and the only guy really can catch him is Winfield. All right, here is Jimmy Rice, and he has a home run, number 43, that puts the Red Sox ahead 2-0. Home run number 43 for Jim Rice. He was in a bit of a slump there for a while. He had an awesome August. 15 homers, 35. He was the player of the month for August, but he's struggled with a 208 batting average in September. Although he did have 3 homers, and there's number 4. But he has slipped definitely over his August production. So it's 2-0 Red Sox. Here's Dwight Evans. He was probably the best Red Sox hitter from 1980 to 1982 in the replay. He was way above last year. Last year he was way above his real life numbers, but this year he has taken a serious step back. And it's sad to see because most people I know that know Dwight Evans like the guy, and I personally do as well, so I don't like to see him take a step back. So one of the reasons why Red Sox, although if you look at the Red Sox, they are one above their real life. Their real life record at this point was 69-74, and they are 70-73, so they are a little bit better than they were, but yeah, they're still struggling. They're almost in last place. If you look at the Orioles at this point in the season, let's see, how can we find this out? We will go, here, yes. We'll go back to Monday. So at this point of the season, they were 85-55, but they're, and with 150 roughly plus run differential, but they are not even close to that. In the replay, they're 77-63, so they're 8 games off the pace, and they only have a 66 run differential. And let's see if it's more pitching or more. So 549 versus 50 more runs they have given up, and 695 versus 662. So it's both. They're not scoring as many runs, and they've allowed way more, 50 plus more runs. So add those two up, that's the 50 or the 100 run differential difference that they've had over the real life statistics. Well, let's get this game going. So Dwight Evans is up 2-0, and he flies out, and Stapleton, and he has a possibility of an error, but no. So after one complete, it's 2-0 Red Sox. Here's Lowenstein, 270. So he's pretty close. He's up a little bit over slugging, but a little bit below in on-base percentage. So he's right there. You can't blame Lowenstein for their struggles. And he pops out Singleton. Singleton's quite a bit below, although he's pretty close in the home run numbers, but he's below his real-life averages. And he has a ball, so he gets another swing. And he walks. So second base runner for the Orioles. It brings up Joe Nolan. Joe Nolan hasn't played much, but he's doing pretty well. 267, 3 homers, 10 RBIs. His on base is higher, but the slugging is lower. And he grounds out to Boggs. And here's just starting to play here, Glenn Gulliver. And the Orioles struggled at third base this season. Struggling to find their third baseman. That's probably the only real hole in their lineup. And he has a chance at an error, and he doesn't, so that's the end of the inning. Still 2-0. Here's Reed Nichols. Batting .258, he's way below his real-life numbers. He flies out. Rick Miller, he's doing quite well. Yes, he's doing way better. His real numbers were 356. His replay is 397, and his slugging is 363, and his slugging in replay is 449, but not much production. And he flies out, and Hoffman is Hoffman. He's pretty close to what he did. And he's a shortstop, so can't expect the world from him. So that's the end of 2, and it's still 2-0. Here's Rich Dower. Grounds out. Bunbury. Singles. He's going to try to steal. Doesn't get the jump. Dan Ford. He flied out to right last time. 1 out here in the 3rd. And he grounds out for Ripken. Doesn't pay to put him on because the man on deck is... So he had lots of protection from Murray in this season, as he did for many years. So no pitching around Ripken. And he strikes out. So he ends the inning. Here's Allenson. Part-time catcher with Rich Gedman. Personally, I love Rich Gedman, so wish he was in there more. But they were on a strict platoon back then. And Scotty McGregor throws left. So Allenson is in the lineup today. Possible error. Ground out. Jerry Remy. We got Boggs coming up. Let's hope he gets a hit. He gets a single. He's going to try to steal. And he steals second. So the man in scoring position for Boggs. Let's hope he gets that base hit. And he grounds out to the first baseman. Runner advances. So he's 0 for 2. Looking at the box score, his average is down to .413. Not good. Man at third base with 2 out for Jim Rice. Flies out in the inning. Here's Murray. Ground out. Fly out. Pop out. You can see right there why I love this game is because it's fast. You can get through an inning in like 5 seconds. Not ultra quick, but still fast. The only reason why it's taking so long is because I'm yapping. Because I want to put the background and putting flesh on the bones. Here's Dwight Evans. Fly out to left last time. Grounds out. That's the worst roll you can get as a batter. 1-2. If there's somebody on, it's almost always a double play except for the Cardinals. Cardinals, they don't roll 1-2. They don't ground into double play because the game loves the Cardinals. Anyway, enough of that rant. Here's Stapleton. He has a double 6. So he goes to the second column, and there are a few. We're looking for a 1. 11, 15, 22, 33, 44, 66, and 55. So basically doubles. Every double and 15 are the home run numbers. 56, so that is a double. And he has the S, so if there's a scoring position with less than 2 out in the S, we put the brakes on. Because so many times they get thrown out at home. Here's Reed Nichols, 0 for 1. He strikes out, but we leave it when there's 2 out. We let him take a chance. Here's Miller. Flied out to right first time up. Gets a double 6, so that should score a run. He does have some 7s and 8s, but I think those score. If there was a 9, I think he'd still get thrown out at home plate, if I remember right. But these, so pretty much certain he's going to score the run, but he could get a home run here with a few. He's not a big home run hitter. He only has 3 this season. So that's a 42. That is a double. The run will score, and it's 3-0 for the Red Sox. And they have a fast runner at second base for Hoffman. He grounded it to short first time up, and he fouls out. So the Red Sox score another run after 4 innings. It is Red Sox 3, Orioles 0. Here is Joe Nolan, the bottom of the order for the Orioles in the 5th. Nolan grounds out. And there's a walk to Glenn Gulliver. He can't steal, so he won't try to jump. And if there's an S on first base, it always seems like when there's a base hit, he stops at second. And it seems when there's 2 out, he tries and gets thrown out. That's why I put the brakes on when there's 2 out. But with 1 out, I don't. Here's Rich Dower. And he has a chance for an error. No error. So now we put on the brakes with 2 out. And we take the double off. We let him try for a run if there's a double. Here's Bunbury. And he gets a single. Runner first to third. An error. And the batter to first. So there's an error. So I think he goes to third. He's going to try, yes, because we have the steal attempt. So in this case, because there's 2 points of caught stealing, we will play it safe. Because there's a runner at third, that would be bad. He got thrown out at second with 2 out and a runner at third. I'm sure that the manager would chew him out. Here's Dan Ford. And he flies out to end the inning. After 4.5, 3-0 Red Sox. McGregor is up still. He's still going strong, facing Allenson, Remy, and Boggs. Here's Allenson, grounded out. Remy gets double ones. He's having a good day. He's got 2 singles and a stolen base. And he gets a 52, which is an 11, which is a single. He can try to steal again, might as well. Doesn't get thrown out. So Boggs always comes up with Remy at first or second, but he has done nothing. He's reached on a fielder's choice. He did score a run on the homer by Rice, and then we grounded into a unassisted 3 unassisted. Here's Boggs. He needs to get that hit. His average is down to 413. And he gets a base hit. So he's 1 for 3 today, and that puts his average back to 415 where he started. So that's good news. So Boggs is at first, Remy at second for Jim Rice. He's already homered today, has 2 RBIs, and flied out to center last time. Here's the pitch to Rice. He gets a double and 2 more runs scored, and it's 5-0 Red Sox. They really want to stay out of last place. They want the Yankees to finish last and not them. So Jim Rice, he has 4 RBIs today on a double and a home run. So here is Evans. We put the brakes on Rice. Evans is 0 for 2. Flied to left and grounded to second. And he flies to left again. Runner holds for Stapleton. And he strikes out. But the damage is done. It's 5-0 Boston. Toronto is celebrating right now. Here's Ripken to lead off the 6th. He strikes out again. Here's Murray. He has a possible error. No error. Foul out to the third baseman, Boggs, who's happy as a clam that he got a base hit. And that brings up Lowenstein. And he homers. Home run for Lowenstein. That is home run number 17 for Lowenstein. In real life, Lowenstein had 15, so he's well above his power numbers. He's above his... We talked about this already. He's around the same as his averages, so he's having a good season. Here is Singleton. So now that Boyd has given up a run, he's eligible to be relieved, but he hasn't downgraded to D, so there's no reason to take him out. Here's Singleton. Popped out. He took a base hit away. So after 5.5, 5-1 Boston. Here's Reed Nichols. He is 0 for 2. He's 0 for 3. Miller struck out. Hoffman. And he grounded out. 1, 2, 3 go the Sox. Now Boyd is down. He's facing the bottom of the order, who are still decent hitters. The relievers available in this series for a 4-game series. So we have 4 games, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relievers available. So we don't just willy-nilly, hey, let's do like modern baseball and have the guy throw to 1 batter, which is against the rules. You have to throw 3 in this game, in this replay rules. But still, we will wait to see. Maybe you can get out of this inning without giving up a hit. So once we get a runner in scoring position, that's usually when I bring someone in. Especially he has the Z still that takes away the walk. So that doesn't go away. Here is the pitch to Nolan. Fly out. And I played a game earlier today where Don Sutton got shelled in the 2nd and 3rd innings. He gave up 7 runs. After 3 innings, he was down 7-1. And there was no relievers available, but he just bared down even though he was a D. And he didn't give up a run for the last 5 innings and got the win in a comeback victory. So, yeah, D, you still can pitch with the D. Here's Gulliver. He's very much a walking man. And he grounds out to first. So we got 2 outs here without using a reliever. That's a bonus here in a 4-game series. Here's Rich Dower. And he has a chance of an error and no errors. So Boyd has the intestinal fortitude to get through the inning even though he's tired. But in this case, we got for the Orioles, they got 2 guys here. Stoddard can appear twice. Tippy can appear twice. Stewart twice and Swaggerty twice and Morgiello once. So they have much more in the way of relievers. And Stewart has 39 innings left in the season, so there's no reason not to bring in Stewart at this point because McGregor's down. So we're bringing in Sammy Stewart. He's got 39 innings left in 20 games or so. So we don't fear bringing him in at all. There's no reason to save Sammy Stewart. He could eat up a lot of innings here. He does have a W, which is bad. It means he gives up more walks. And you can see he almost gives up 1 walk every 2 innings. Has a 4.10 ERA. That's hurt him. 6-10 record. So if you look at the real Sammy Stewart, I think he was much better in real life. He had 144 innings pitched, 362, 9-4. So yes, he did much better in the real life than he is in the replay. He's struggling. That W. And that's what I think. One of the things about this game is that W is like putting a noose on a pitcher. I mean, I know what's there. And if you have a double W, I mean, you can't even bring the guy in. I mean, he's going to walk everybody. But that W hurts more than it's supposed to, I think. That's one of the things I've noticed. There should be like a half a W or something. But anyway, that's my rant for the day. So Stewart is going to face Allenson, Remy, and Boggs. In this case, you wouldn't mind Boggs getting a walk. He's got his hit. He's back at 415. A walk doesn't hurt him at all. A hit is better, but a walk is definitely better than an out. Allenson. So Stewart takes away the hit. Because he's a B, he takes away the 8. And there's one away. Remy's had a very good day. He's 3 for 3. Flies out. Stewart down to the C, so he no longer takes away the 8s. Does take away the 9s, however. Here's Wade Boggs. 1 for 3. Like we said, we don't mind a walk here. He gets a base hit. That's even better. So we will not try to steal. And brings up Rice with 2 out, and he's driven in 4 runs today. 4 asterisks. Means 4 runs, and scored 1, of course, on a homer. 2 for 3. Big day for Rice. The reason why the Red Sox are ahead today is because of the bat of Jimmy Rice. Let's see if he can keep that up. He does! So he has double 1. We saw already that double 1 in the first inning. However, because of Stewart's H is a beautiful thing for a pitcher. He has a chance of taking away this home run. I call it voodoo. The ball is smashed, but the pitcher turns around and he uses his voodoo powers to bring that thing back into the field of play. Okay, so the first roll is for Jim Rice, 11-61. Now, if Jim Rice can roll higher than 61, then the voodoo doesn't matter. So that's what he's going to hope to do. Here is the roll. The first roll is 35, so the voodoo is in effect. And 11-46, voodoo brings it back. 51 or higher, the thing is still out of the ballpark over the green monster. Let's see. So it hits the top of the monster versus going over the monster is what this roll is about right here. 54, it's over the monster. He has a second homer of the game. And Jim Rice has driven in 6 of the 7 Red Sox runs. And Stewart struggles once again. However, you can't blame it on the walk. It's not the walk today. It's because of great hitting. And this is all with 2 out. Boggs singled with 2 out and Rice homered with 2 out. And the score is now 7-1. And Stewart is tired because he's given up 2 runs in his relief appearance. So we bring him out. The game is over, I think. I guess you could bring in Swaggerty. Is Swaggerty good? He's just called up from the minors. I'm not totally familiar with Swaggerty. 7-3H. Yeah, well, just as a courtesy to a great reliever, we will bring in Bill Swaggerty. So far, he's pitched 6 innings and has a 3 ERA. And fly out. So it's 7-1 now. And Boyd, they can save the bullpen. See, here's another factor. I'd like to save. There's so much strategy when you do it this way. It keeps me interested. It doesn't just mindless clicking. I have to always be thinking. And here, I got 3 more games with 5 relievers available. You might as well try to milk oil can a little bit and see if he can. I mean, he's got 6-run cushion with 2 innings left. So here we go. Let's see if we can use the cushion. So ground out to the pitcher. 1 away. Here's Ford. Gets a base hit. He's going to try to steal, and he steals second. Disco Dan is at second base for Ripken. So right now the bullpen, the guys are up in the bullpen. They're throwing. Stanley's up there. And maybe Johnson. Stanley and Johnson are up there in the bullpen. Here's Ripken. He gets a base hit. The run scores. And it's now 7-2. And the pitchers are throwing furiously in the bullpen right now. Man on first. Let's see if he can get by Murray. Struck out Murray for the second out. And here's Lowenstein. He is having a good day at a homer. And he strikes out. So Boyd shows something there. He pulls from the reserves and gets 2 strikeouts with a man on to end the 8th inning for the Orioles. And now here's the bottom half. The guys who can't do anything. Let's see if there's hitters available. I don't know, we don't need them, but we look and see. So Jurak is eligible. Newman is eligible. And let's see, Yastrzemski's eligible. So because he's playing in the second game. This is the first game of a doubleheader. Al Nipper is getting his first start in the major leagues. He's had his appearance already, but this is his first start. He's 2.25 ERA, so maybe he can give the Red Sox a good performance in Game 2. But we might as well leave the defense in. Stapleton's a good first baseman defensively, as we all know, and talked about 1,000 times. Why didn't they bring him in? Joe Morgan bring him in for Bill Buckner. That's been talked about a gazillion times since that point. Okay, here's Stapleton. He grounds out. Nichols gets double 3s. So we go to the second column. He rolls a 12, which is a base hit. And he won't try to steal. Rick Miller. He is 1 for 3. Strikes out. Hoffman strikes out. So here we go with a 5-run cushion. Let's see if Boyd can get through this. Doesn't have to face, at this point anyway, the big 3 in the middle. He's got the bottom of the lineup. Singleton is 0 for 2 with a walk. He grounds out. Nolan is 0 for 3. Grounds out. Gulliver. He's walked and is 0 for 2. He gets a base hit. No need to panic. There's 2 out. We just need 1 good roll. Here's Dower. And there it is. So the strategy pays off. We don't use any relievers. Boyd gets the complete game and the victory, 7-2. Looking at the stats, our man Wade Boggs was 2 for 4. He's now batting .416. You think, oh boy, 2 for 4. That should bring up a guy's average at least 3 or 4 points. But not when you're batting .415. It only goes up 1. He does have 3 runs scored as well. That gives him 97 runs scored on the season. He's going for 100. He's well over the 215, 200 hits already. And as he did consistently in his career, 2 for 1 walks, 2 strikeouts. I don't know. Don't you wish you saw a lot of hitters like this? I miss hitters like this, which was why I look back so fondly at Boggs. Not because of the chicken, not because he was one of those guys who jumped to the Yankees. That's not the reason. The reason is because he didn't strike out. He even didn't. There was one season when I think it was 87. I remember hearing he only popped out in the infield twice all season or something, which is an incredible stat. But anyway, that is our game today. Game number 8,281. And the final score, once again, the Boston Red Sox 7 and the Baltimore Orioles 2. Let's just save it so we can get all the stats up to date. We go 0-9-13, first game of a doubleheader. And the Orioles score 2 runs and the Red Sox 7. And of course, there's no saves, blown saves, or holds. Red Sox had a complete game. So do you want to include this in the replay? Yes, we do. And so now that is the stats. We look at the stats of the Red Sox. We'll go with the pitching, I guess. We'll look at Boyd. Boyd is now 6-3, 275. And we look at the Red Sox batters. And the processor for recording really slows this thing down. Okay, there's Wade Boggs. He's now batting .416. His on base is .488. His slugging is .542. He scored 97 runs, 4 homers, 78 RBIs. Hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.